All right, welcome everybody. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, additions to the agenda. I have one tonight. Does anybody else have any?
No.
Okay, we're going to add the rescue contract to new business. It fits in with our other budget updates as well.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to add the rescue contract to new business. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. I have no remarks. We have no guests. Open public comments on agenda items only. This will be the only time that we are allowing the public to speak during our meeting, is why we have this time set aside. So if you have something to say regarding any agenda item, please do it now. Come on up.
Good evening. Tim Arsenault, Town Clerk, and yes, I am running again. I know we've pretty much talked out one of the issues that are on the agenda for other business, but I just want to quickly repeat that this is not a problem that the town has, and that the people of the town deserve to make the choice. And as a elected person by the town, I am very comfortable with having the entire populace decide on my fate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cindy.
Come on up, Sid.
Cindy Turley, Town Treasurer. I just wanted to pass something out to all of you.
Okay.
You may or may not have seen this in the paper, so in the off chance you didn't see it, I wanted to share it with you all. We have been told that there's many towns that are going to be doing this and thinking about it. This is one town, the town of Bellis Falls, who has opted not to put these two articles up at their town meeting. You can read it yourselves, but it says, basically it says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they're not going to be doing that. And it's been many times told to us that other towns are doing this, so I just thought it was important for some, for you to see this article. Because I still believe the control and protection of these two offices should be with the town clerk and the treasurer, and I think our townspeople have the right to vote on who they want in that office.
Anybody else?
Of course.
That's what the time slot's there for.
It's questioning this. If there's a question that would help clarify for us and for you, we cannot ask that question? This is the only time?
Yes, this is the only time.
For shame.
It's gonna make our meetings go a lot better, I have a feeling. Anything else? Okay. Department and committee reports, we don't have any approval of meeting minutes, regular meeting and budget meeting minutes of the 18th of December.
I move we accept them both as written. Second.
Moved and seconded to accept both the regular and budget meeting minutes of December 18th as written. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
Bills and warrants, please.
I move that we authorize payment of the following warrant. 13T, accounts payable, $28,857.53. 51S, payroll, $7,314.53. 52S, payroll, $9,994.58.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the bills and warrants as read. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, matured bond. I do not see Gordon here.
Seconded that last, the warrants? Oh,
What's that?
Do we need to approve the budget?
We did both of them at once.
Yes, we did.
Do you have the information on the bond that's on this, or was that a?
Gordon had called when I was out and said, left a message saying he would be calling back. He never called back.
Okay,
I don't know if he gave Michelle any information.
He just requested to be on it because one was maturing, so.
I do not have a problem with reinvesting it.
Okay.
We don't need that money liquid right now.
is this the one that we talked about at the last meeting that we said if we didn't need the money just to let it ride?
No, this is another one.
This is a different one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Since we don't have full information, I don't really want to take any action, board. Everybody?
Agreed.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Yeah. All right, articles for consideration. Shall the voters of the town of Vernon authorize the select board to spend $110,000 from the Vernon Farmland Protection Fund to pay a portion of the cost that will permanently conserve 146 acres on Route 1462. That would be 142, not 146.2. Owned by Whitney Elms LLC. Come on up, Art. And Jeff.
Good evening, Select Board.
Please.
Very well. As Josh just read, we have another neat opportunity as far as the Farmland Protection Committee is concerned. As many of you know, I don't know when the fund started, but obviously decades ago, to set up money to preserve the farmland in the town of Vernon. We have so far 3 or 4 parcels that have been preserved, and this one here is, I believe, maybe the largest one to date for us as a town. Specifically, it's the property across from Jeff Dunkley's farm, the old Sam Kendall farm. There's 2 parcels. There's the south parcel, which is the larger parcel straight across from their farm, and then a smaller parcel up just above, between Kerry Tyler's place and Skidnowski's. Does everybody have a map, just so you know what I'm referring to? I'm not sure the acreage on each of them, but altogether it's 146 acres. Obviously farmed by the Vermont farm down there. So it's in conjunction again with the Vermont Land Trust. The property has been assessed for, I believe it's $970,000. The appraisal was 3 years ago, I believe, and the Vermont Land Trust would like a more current appraisal, and so they plan to have it reappraised. If it comes in at a higher value, they will not match the higher value, and so it would be locked in at $550,000 altogether for the development rights, 110 of which would come from the town of Vernon. If that second appraisal comes in at a lower value, potentially it could be less than 110 from the town of Vernon. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, so we're proposing to go ahead and fund our part from the Farmland Protection Fund. Currently, I believe there's about $298,000 in the Farmland Protection Fund. This would 110 or 111, whichever it was, drop us down to like 188 or whatever that would be in the fund. There was a question on erosion because it is along the riverbank. So I went and hiked that with Jeff. There has been a section there where the bank has, or it did cave away. Specifically the power companies, I'm not sure which one, owns the bank, and they have come back in and filled that in. And so there currently is no erosion there. That was apparently about 15 years ago. There along the riverbank, so the power company does own along the riverbank, and it's very similar at least that farm compared to ours, where you do have a large number of trees along good portions of the bank. So obviously, they've been there for years. And again, the point where it did give way, that has been repaired. We've had similar along our farm as well. Just the nature of the soils, the runoff and stuff like that. So I don't foresee erosion as being an issue, at least not significantly. And if it is, it's primarily the power company's responsibility to repair that.
Mr. Chair,
Mhm.
I move that we add this article to our town warning.
We don't really need to have a motion on this, do we? Since it's all just gonna be part of articles.
That's totally up to you, that's the way you've been doing it up to this point, but you can do
What do
it
you-
all at once.
We haven't been making motions on every article.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it all at once if you want.
Okay.
Just maybe a little bit of follow-up. As far as any other costs, like the appraisal, closing costs, those are all borne by the Vermont Land Trust. And so 110,000 is what would be capped as far as Vernon's portion.
Questions? So I'll make the statement that I don't agree with this article. And pretty simple reason, we're depleting half of a fund for a fairly large portion of land that sits along the Connecticut River. And we lose development rights to that land when this happens. So obviously, we know that the Connecticut River is a valuable resource and could be potentially a good place to develop anything and everything along the Connecticut River, whether it be a power source or whether it be anything else or whatever. That's my concern in this particular piece of land. I brought up the erosion issue because I had heard it from Jeff previously as well. And if that's not an issue, it's not an issue. I believe it is based on my conversation with him, but I don't support this article. But like I said, we don't have to vote on it because it's all going to be part of it anyway. But I do not support this article because of the piece of land that it is and the potential development that it has in the future. I think there's a lot more farmland that could be conserved for that amount of money that doesn't have as much development potential.
Well, of course, I'm always a proponent of preserving the agricultural land, and I know being next to the river, this is just prime agricultural land, and
It's probably for a lot of things.
I don't feel that developing is what it's good for. I just don't believe in developing all the farmland.
It's not all of it. But okay.
It's good for.
It's a lot of it.
I understand it's good farmland.
and it just
I grew up in
chunk by
Indiana.
chunk disappears, and that's very
That's it.
sad. And that's why these things exist, so that the farmland can be maintained as farmland.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
That's what this is for. We don't have to agree on it.
Right.
Moving forward and presuming that this gets in the town report or whatnot, we would like to give a presentation. Last year, we gave a presentation, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was the week before the town meeting, just an open forum so that we don't have to take up time during the town meeting. And, explain, the parcel and where the money's coming from, answer any questions. Again, just so that hopefully we don't have to take that time during town meeting. So that's our plan moving forward.
Okay.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
Great.
Josh, I will just a little bit of advice, since this issue might be contentious, and there's a select board member missing, if you do vote on whether or not to put it in the warning, remember, this warning has got to be complete by the next meeting. So, if this is a contentious issue, if you don't have a majority vote to include this in the warrant, then it just won't be on it. And you have a potential for a tie, because there's only 4 of you. That's why I would caution against waiting and having a special meeting after the next meeting to sign the warrant, in case we don't have a majority signing that warrant. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, because if the articles are all dealt with as one
package, one vote, I'm gonna have to be out of the room also.
No, you can vote as part of the warning, and so can Jeff, if this is,
Hi.
even if this is on it,
Okay.
because it's part of the process.
You can't be part of the discussion, but you can be part of the end result.
Right, you can,
Oh.
yes.
Okay.
As-
So you can sign the warrant, that's okay, to approve the
Okay.
package to go to voters. But for this, especially because there's only 4 of you, that's why I'm concerned.
Well, it's just this particular, well, we have a couple articles.
It would do it with this
the
one and the
library.
library one,
Yeah.
if there's a question.
As far as return on investment, this is a good opportunity for the town. Because the Vermont Land Trust comes up with the other 80%, and they're asking the town for 20%. So this would not be an option for us to exercise separated from the Vermont Land Trust, or else it would be way more contentious.
And way more money than is available.
Right, it would be beyond what we have certainly set
Right.
aside. So it is a window of opportunity. If the town wants to set aside farmland, obviously this is great farmland at a great value. If we're concerned about development and what might be down the road as far as development, then that's a separate issue. And if we decide we want to, well, I should probably be quiet.
Can I ask a clarification question?
Sure.
You said you were going to vote on all these articles at one time? If you do that in a one lump, what if there's some articles you don't want?
Then you'll vote down the entire warning.
So you'll vote against all of them?
Correct.
We have to have a majority of the select board sign the warning.
Understand, but what if there's some want and some don't want?
That is up to the select board member, whether they agree with that warning should go to vote or not.
Because I've
So you
already,
do another warning?
Well, we would have special meetings until they could agree on a warning to present to the voters.
because as of right now, Cindy, I will not sign this warning for town meeting.
Okay. That confused me, if it's all one lump, how you can pick out the ones you want and ones you don't want.
Right.
Well, you can't really do that anyway, because if you do that, if you say I vote down the library article,
Yeah,
because that's a contentious one, and there's only 4 of us in the room, and then I go ahead and then I sign the warning, that means I'm approving that article. That means I agree with that article and that I want it to go in front of the voters.
so
But-
does that mean the next time a warning comes on, then the library wouldn't be on it?
No, that
You
means
just keep
we
doing it
go
over and over again
until we come to an agreement as an entire select board about all the articles, correct? It's the same thing that's done every year. It's no different than any other select board in the past. I don't know if you recall, but my first year on the board, I didn't sign the warning either. When I was a board
At least 3 of them
member.
have to sign it, right?
It has-
Yes, at least 3 of us have to sign
If
it.
3 of you can't sign it, then there won't be any articles?
No, then we go back to the drawing board and start doing this all over
All
again.
right, thank you.
All right, any more questions for Art before we move on? Okay, great. All right, thanks, Art. Oh, you're
There's
gonna,
a second
Yep.
article, correct?
shall the voters appropriate a sum of $20,000 to be raised by taxes to fund the previously established Vernon Farmland Protection Fund?
Okay, as I mentioned, the fund, presuming this is approved, would have roughly 188,000, I think, left in it. The question is, at what level does the town want to keep that fund funded? We were up over around 400,000 before we bought the development rights off of Pond Road and the Carr property. So we've taken a little whisker more than half, assuming this gets approved. Does the town want to continue to fund that, and if so, to what degree and how much? The Farmland Protection Committee does not feel that we need to get back to the 400,000, especially after a parcel of this size. We don't see in the foreseeable future that large of a opportunity. You know, at least certainly not in the foreseeable future. Just to put that in perspective, the 146 acres that's proposed here, that's the same size as what Miller Farm, all of their, the property we own that's in open field, that's about roughly 150 acres. Counting both sides by the river and on that side. So this is a large parcel. But we would like to put to the town to see it, and historically the fund has been funded, I believe, at $25,000 for many years. And relatively recently we decided to stop funding it just because we felt that it had grown enough. We wanted to put it out there to see if the town wanted to start to build it back up again, just because we've taken such heavy withdrawals these last few years. We don't know that we feel super strong about this as a committee. We just felt it ought to be larger, a body ought to make that decision than just us as a Farmland Protection Committee. And so we did want that as an article to be presented to the town to see what the town's wishes are.
So you think the 188 that's in there is sufficient currently?
Well, that's why I say, Chris, we're not sure what, I think it is for the immediate future. You know, if another opportunity, you know, close to this size for 100,000, I mean, obviously that deplete that fund, then you'd be basically, we don't want to be at a point where we have to fund it in a significant amount or all at once, or not be able to take advantage of an opportunity that comes along. So we would like to see it perhaps funded some, but again, we don't see it going back to the 400,000 range.
Questions? Okay. All right, thanks, Art.
Yep.
Shall the voters appropriate $25,600 to be raised by taxes to reimburse the emergency capital reserve for the expense to light repair for the Vernon Recreation area? So that's just something that we have to do. That's part of our emergency capital reserve. The funding for the capital plan, we do have to have a vote on this one because of the way the policy is written for the emergency capital reserve plan, or the capital plan.
Should we bring Jeff back in?
Yes. You gonna go grab him, Chris?
I'll get him.
Okay.
I make a motion that we add the article for the capital plan.
We're just approving
I think
the
you said we
You
need
want to
do-
approve the capital
Yeah,
plan?
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I move that we approve the
So-
capital plan. As presented.
okay.
I don't think that dollar amount for the capital is correct.
Pardon?
I don't think that dollar amount for the capital is correct.
That's what we were given.
I had asked Tom, and he said this was the last
The amount you
one.
appropriate is the top amount, the amount raised by taxes is the bottom amount. If you only approve the
It's the
bottom amount.
1931.
So I move that we appropriate
Oh,
the
okay.
200,898.63 and raise by taxes 193, 183.51. So that's my motion.
So is the 193, 183?
193 is the amount we want to raise by taxes, but you have to approve the total amount
Oh,
of
okay, I see what you're
expenditures.
saying.
That's what she just did.
Because that's how much the expenditure is.
Okay, I'll rewrite that. Thank you, Cindy.
Sandy's motion is correct, though.
Yes.
Total?
Yes.
So,
That was the total minus interest to that. So do you have to go to
so
the actual
the grand
plan
total to be
expense?
appropriated
Oh,
is
okay.
200,898.63.
Okay.
And the total raised by taxes is 193, 183.51.
Except we round up to 184
Okay, 184.
if you want, or you cannot, it's up to you.
Well, I was just thinking pennies, so I'll give you the penny.
You can do the pennies if you want to.
I
Okay,
like the 184.
so we got a motion on the table.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the capital plan as stated. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Okay. shall the voters appropriate a total library fund? This is another one that we have to have a vote on because they have to have a dollar figure to go into the warning.
I move that we appropriate $86,855 for library fund expenditures for the administration of the Vernon Free Library and raised by taxes the same amount.
Brown has got something for us.
I do. The library trustees met this afternoon and approved the following revision to this proposed article. And what I have it for you, but I have corrections to make to this. We didn't approve what you see here. So I will pass it out to you and tell you what the difference is. I'm sorry, I neglected to do that.
I'm sorry, can anybody second that?
No.
Just making sure.
Shall the voters? The change is in the last line, by the way. Shall the voters appropriate a total library fund expenditure of $86,855 for administration of the Vernon Free Library, for which $80,000 shall be raised by taxes and $6,855 shall be appropriated from the Vernon Free Library gift fund. The difference is be appropriated instead of come from. I had to look it up because I wasn't really sure what appropriated. It seems to me it's being used in two different ways in the same article, but it is not.
So that is my motion.
That is our motion.
To have that in article.
Yes.
That is the change that the trustees made today. I must say thank you for, as I said to you, thank you for your patience. I find after last time we met with you, and then talking with Ellen Hardy, I finally realized that your message and what you want is for the library to be less dependent on the towns, the taxes, for us, for support of the library. So it's not what you fully wanted, Josh. However, it's a start in the right direction. We are also going to be looking at investing $5,000. It's my proposal, and this is, again, has to be approved by the trustees at our next regular meeting, which is a week from tonight. Investing that so that we can get money coming in that way. And so that, and I have no idea what the total is on our fund appeal that we just sent out in November. So what we're doing is trying to be conservative at this point, and in hopes that at some point, we will be even more independent financially.
So we have a motion, but we do not have a second for that motion. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we need to figure that part out, because we're obviously not in agreement as a majority on this particular article, and they have to have a dollar amount, and we have to have a dollar amount in our article that is approved by the select board. So what do you want to do?
Where's Jeff?
I don't know, Art went out to get them.
Well, I feel that we ask them to come with a budget. And somehow I feel that we don't respect our employees when they do what we ask, and then we tell them they don't know what they're doing, we can do it better. Why do we ask them to do a budget if we're gonna just do it ourselves?
We're not doing it ourselves. We have no control over this budget outside of a full dollar amount.
Well, we don't even have control over that, the town has control over that.
Well, yeah, but what goes on this article, we need to set as a select board, correct?
When did we
You
start
asked-
doing that?
You asked for all the departments to level fund. This is less than level funding.
It is level funding, actually, but you're just using your gift fund to bring it to level funded. So let's get Jeff's opinion in here.
So the part that I'm still hung up on from the last time we
That's
spoke was
The
the,
new article for.
what was it,
library.
$18,000 you guys had in the
Going down to
gift
80 with
fund?
Using 6,000
Yeah.
for their fund.
18,389, something
So
like that.
how much of that came from the mailers that you guys sent out asking for donations specifically to the library? Is all of that from that, or does that include your sales?
That is not all of it. The first year, I believe we got 3,000. This is the third year. Last year, I believe we got 4,000, 4,500. And we don't know what we got this year.
It
Yeah,
also includes our book sales, our plant sales, other fundraising events.
So if we
that we've
exclude
done.
the sales from that, the donations that you guys are asking the town to provide, it would be my opinion that those donations are given in anticipation that you're not going to ask for additional money above and beyond that. So that 4,000 or 4,500 that you got should come right off from the top of that budget. And you should be asking for $4,500 less because you got those donations from taxpayers that wanted to donate to you.
But aren't they taking 68.55 off the top of it? I may be wrong, so if I can please show me.
Yeah, that's the new article. So they're asking for 8,000 or 80,000 from taxpayers and 68 and change coming out of their fundraising fund. So they are doing that in a way. They're not depleting their full fund, which I think is kind of what is that what you're getting at? 'Cause
Kinda, I'm not
every
looking
year
for them
they-
to deplete it, but, I mean, yes, I see what they're doing with this article here, where they're taking the $6,000 out.
close to 7 grand.
But over the 3 years,
So-
that hasn't been the case, that they've
No.
been kicking that back. So
that's
that's great
wrong.
that we're getting the 6,000, but I mean, all of
Mr.
those years
Parker?
that the people have been donating, I feel that they should not also be having to pay that in their taxes. as
Mr.
well.
Parker, I would like to correct you and
Go
tell
ahead.
you that $5,424.42 came out 2 years ago for a shortfall.
That's correct.
And last year, 1,933?
That's correct.
Or something like that came out. So all that,
But what was the shortfall the first year that you're talking about? Is that because there wasn't enough money in your budget to operate the way that you guys wanted to? But yet other towns around us were able to operate in a budget considerably less than yours. So you guys just had a vision and you went over your budget, so you took money out of that? I'm just trying to clarify.
yeah, basically, there were circumstances where some expenses were not planned for. Yeah. And last year was the $70,000 budget that the town voted. So we had a few, almost $2,000 extra expenses. the gift fund is to be used at the trustees' discretion, and that was our discretion to use it that way. And again, it's our discretion and our choice to use $6,855 next year. And I'll tell you the truth, our computers, there's 8 of them, and at least 4 of them are almost comatose, if not on life support. And that's not budgeted in there at all, and that's gonna have to come from the gift fund. And I don't know how much that is.
You have other questions, Chris? Jeff, you got questions?
So I came in late, so this is, you support this article?
Yes, there's a change on the last sentence. Instead of says shall come from, it says shall be appropriated
Okay,
from.
it's just the semantics.
But yeah,
So that you,
we voted on it at 4:40 today, and we all approved it.
okay.
Yeah.
So while you were out of the room, Sandy made a motion to accept that article as written right here, but she did not receive a second.
I'll second
So if you want to remake your motion.
So moved, what's written here, so don't have to.
Okay. So moved and seconded to approve the article for the library for a tax expenditure of $80,000. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
it.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
So here we are again.
How much extra did you spend last year above the 70,000 out of your gift fund?
Out of last year, we spent $1,933 over
1,930 something, is that what you said?
33.
Somebody say something. Or we have a special
Well,
meeting
I'm
down the
just-
road.
If you guys had to get into your gift fund for $1,900, that brings you to 72,000. So what is the additional $8,000 that, or 16,000 that you guys are looking for?
We did not have a 20-hour per week part-time assistant or assistant. We now do. That's where a portion of that, probably a significant amount, came in wages and insurances for Jean to have additional assistants, or the library director. We hired another assistant who's, between the two, I think they're working between 19 and 20 hours a week, which frees up the librarian to be able to do more of the jobs that are necessary to
How many hours a week is the library open?
27.
27. And how many hours is Jean's salary at?
36 hours.
36. So,
But
but you have 2 assistants there to make it so that she can do some of this administrative work to free up some of her time, but
the library, she is also interacting with people actually 30 hours, because on Monday morning, there's rhyme time, which is when the library is not open. Excuse me. She's also interacting with people on preschool story time. So she's actually working with the public 30 hours. We just gave her she was working 32 hours. We increased her hours to 36, so we gave her 4 extra hours to do
For-
administrative work, ordering, culling books out of the library, ordering interlibrary loan and other, and
Right.
professional development.
So you gave her an extra 4 hours, but you also gave her an additional assistant so that she
It's a
could
job
be
share.
doing
We
more
did
of
not
this
give
other
her an
stuff.
extra assistant. We gave her
Okay, so
a
you
job
you have an
share.
assistant there for 20 hours so that she can do her administrative work.
Yep. And
But then you
also,
increased her hours 4.
yeah. Also, it is recommended by the Department of Libraries that we have 2 people in the library at all times, for safety's sake. Safety of
And
the
that's
person.
perfectly fine, but if you have an additional person there, then she didn't need the additional 4 hours. She could have been doing that work and utilizing the assistant the way the assistants are intended to be used.
I beg you to understand, it is not your job to tell the trustees how to parcel out the money. It is only your job to say how much you recommend the taxpayers to pay.
And part of my job
So
is to
please don't-
understand what this money is being used for. So if I'm seeing places that it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up, I'm going to question it.
It's not your job.
It is if you want a dollar amount that we're going to agree on. I want to know what the dollar amount is for and why we are at that number.
There you
That is
have it.
$16,000 above this year's.
This year, we are at 86,468. It's $327 above, not 16,000. The 70,000 was last fiscal year. It ended June 30th.
It's 70,000 was 2 town meetings ago. Well, the fiscal year screws you up since it's June to July. Do you have a dollar amount in mind, Chris?
72.
A couple of weeks ago, you said 80. We came in at 80. Why did you change your mind?
I changed my mind when we started talking about what what the library is trying to achieve. And I can't buy into trying to achieve a library of excellence in Vernon or whatever that is that we're talking about. We don't gain anything. The taxpayers do not gain anything in their taxes. They don't get breaks anywhere. So why do we need to spend all of this money to achieve a library of excellence with no return? It would be different if that opened up possibilities for you to qualify for things, or you got some kickbacks, or there was something for it. But I haven't heard anything that says that that's the case.
You don't come into the library either.
But you're sitting here in this meeting, and I'm trying to figure out why we need to be a library of excellence.
Just call us a library, please. We told you that that was not a term that we shouldn't have used it. Just please call us a library.
But that's what we're looking for extra money for, so we can buy new things, have all of this stuff, so that we can be.
We're not buying new things. We're holding the line. We're holding the line. We're not buying new things. If we have to buy computers, it's gonna come out of the gift fund. It's not new things. Show me where it's a new thing.
I think what Chris is trying to say is that your catalog of items, and again, I don't have anything to do with this because I'm a select board member. You guys decide what you want to do with your money. But what he's saying is that you guys have, 19,000 items, I guess, something like that, within your library. And you are part of a consortium to, keep that level of pieces within the library, correct? And that's, you guys swap with other libraries and...
Interlibrary loan, yep.
Yeah, so, and you guys are probably on the upper end of that as far as, the number of pieces and things like that comparatively to other towns. So you're paying a higher fee to be at that higher level. I think what Chris is suggesting is if you buy into that consortium at a lower level. So I don't know how that changes your world, and frankly, it's not any of my business how it changes your world. But I think that's what he's getting at, is if you're paying $20,000 a year to be a part of this consortium so you can keep 19,000 pieces in the library, and you can pay $15,000 and keep 15,000 pieces in the library and save taxpayers $5,000 by doing so, I think that's what Chris is getting at. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around why we are where we're at with this dollar amount. But yes.
So it doesn't really have anything to do with the Library of Excellence. It's the level at which we buy in for our library materials. Is we buy in at a fairly high level for.
Again, whether or not the town decides at town meeting to fund us at 80,000 or 70 or 72, in my personal opinion, we are going to continue to maintain what we have now. And if it means going into the gift fund, and we're going to be, we've started researching, looking at grants, then we will be doing that. I do not, myself, want to diminish the services or the staff that we have. And I will do what I can for that, to that goal.
And I understand that.
In fact, I do what I am doing. I don't believe there's anybody in town who pledges as much as I have pledged monthly. And that is why I am saying what I say and defending the library as rabidly as I am.
I appreciate your defense
I know.
very much.
Thank you.
I understand.
I'm not disputing that the library isn't a service to the town and that it isn't useful and that there isn't people that use it. We're just the most expensive one around.
As a clarification, Chris, the Library of Excellence is defined as it reflects the level of service we do for our patrons, just as you had
Mhm.
expressed. But that is the true definition of that.
And I can appreciate that, but
And
but achieving that mark, what do you get in return?
it's just a high level of service.
So we have to spend more money as a town to make sure that the articles and everything that you need are there to achieve and to hold that mark, but there's nothing that comes back.
I cannot speak to that definitively, so I'm going to not until I have a little more understanding. But I do believe that there may be some resources there that I feel are probably available, but I can't say for certain. That could probably define that a little more clearly. But since I don't know, I'm not going to speak. We have some great resources and people within the state library services who can coach us and help us, and I'm sure that they could help shed some light. And we would not have those services if we're not part of this system.
We need a motion about something. The dollar amount.
We can meet halfway. Why don't we meet halfway?
$78?
It would be 76.
76.
Would you be okay with 76, Chris?
I'm sorry?
Would you be okay with 76?
I would.
This is going to be changed at town meeting, ladies. So I'll make a motion that we change the 80,000 to 76,000.
Second.
Moved it.
Who's that?
I'd like to answer
That was
Chris's
Chris seconded.
question about what Jean does. She is doing the job of 2 librarians, certified or with certification credentials. She is the children's librarian, and she is also the library director. That's why she needs 36 hours. The children's librarian also chooses books for the library. She also does the programs for the library, including the summer reading program that benefits the children who attend the camp at the rec center. And she also does an adult reading program and sponsors or make sure that other programs are ongoing. So she needs all the 36 hours, actually more, but we gave her 4 extra. That's why we did that.
This has nothing to do with this at this point. I'm just curious. How many kids actually go to Rhyme Time in the...
We should finish our motion since we got a motion in a second. Moved and seconded. Let's see. To raise by taxes, basically 76,000. Yep. Shall the voters appropriate a total library fund expenditure of 76,000 for the administration of the Vernon Free Library shall be raised by taxes. The rest of it doesn't really matter because you guys can do what you want with your gift fund. That's the motion that's on the table. Moved and it was seconded by Chris. All those in favor, please signify by saying.
Wait, can you clarify that motion, because she said something different than you just said.
I just said changes the 80,000.
The 80,000 to 76, not the 86,000, right? Okay. So that's a little different. I just want to make sure it's.
I think you should then say 10,855. From the gift fund.
So do you want to reduce the
No,
administration
no,
number?
I don't want to change that.
No?
Don't change it.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah. Right.
Never
We're not,
mind.
we're not including the gift fund language?
Nope.
Is that
Oh,
correct,
I
Sandy?
see, I see.
No, I want to include the gift.
Because now the math isn't working.
Well, that's
Just
why I
don't
said
make it fun.
change the 80 to 76.
Okay.
The 80 to
I didn't
76.
So then you
understand
can do
that.
the math.
Sorry.
And
Don't
then
put
do
the
the
gift
math.
fund
I can do
language
the
in at
math.
all.
Yeah, it's 82,855, I think.
Don't put the gift fund language in at all.
I think you should. I think the voters have a right to see that.
Is that good?
That was my motion.
Okay,
Is that your second?
Yes.
55.
yeah, it's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
And then take out the gift
No, leave it in there.
at the 6,
Yeah.
855.
Second.
Well, would that be changing their figure at that point from the gift fund?
It doesn't add up.
Those are town.
That would,
Right.
their gift
Their
fund
check-
would be
checks.
contributing 10.
True.
10,855 from the gift fund.
No, I said left it at 6,855.
But
So does that limit
Sandy's
them?
motion is to leave the gift fund at 7855. That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what we say about the gift fund because we have no control over the gift
Right.
fund. So I understand that you want the taxpayers to see that, and I think it's the library trustee's responsibility to
Right.
let taxpayers know that as a select board, 76,000 was approved, or if it's gonna be approved, and then that you intend on spending X out of your gift
What about saying
fund
the
to.
remainder to come from the gift fund?
Well, with the 82855, that's what happens. Is that okay?
So you're changing the amount they're asking for in total to 82 instead of 86?
Yes, that would do it.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't touch the gift. That's what Sandy's proposing. Does that make sense to you guys? And then the gift fund stays at the 6855.
Right,
But it doesn't matter.
but they can change it if they want to.
No, but we need
Right.
the numbers.
No, you don't. You don't need to have anything in there about the gift fund.
But my motion is to have it in there.
To demonstrate to the town of Vernon residents that we are utilizing their gifts, we would like to
Right.
leave it in,
Okay.
as Sandy has proposed.
All right, can we clarify the motion,
Right,
please?
my
at this
motion
point?
is as follows.
We may have to
That
revisit
the article read, shall the voters appropriate a total library fund expenditure of $82,855 for administration of the Vernon Free Library, of which $76,000 shall be raised by taxes and $6,855 shall be appropriated from the Vernon Free Library Gift Fund.
Okay. Are you good with that, Chris? So Chris is your second. Moved and seconded, the library article. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay.
Just because I said aye.
What's that? No, I gave my dollar figure a long time ago, so that's where I'm at. Okay.
What has changed from that?
Lifetime policy, should that, no, it doesn't really need to be. We already did that.
No, we did it last time.
Okay. Can we go back to our guest at this point?
Yeah, I would, yeah,
Okay.
just so she could go home.
So we need to go back because I forgot about a guest and I'm very, very sorry. Will you come up and tell us why you're here?
We need to go in executive session.
Okay,
That's fine.
is it on personnel?
It is.
No, contract, right? Contract negotiation.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we, okay. I move that to define premature general public knowledge of the pending contract will clearly place the town at substantial disadvantage. That we go into executive, I move that we find that.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session regarding, or
No, just finding the premature general
find
public
them,
knowledge.
yeah, on a contract. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
I move we enter executive session to discuss the contract under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes with Attorney Lori Rowell and our town administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are in executive session. So we went in in executive session at 7:26, came out at 7:39, no action was taken. Flex time policy. You have that policy in our packet.
Yep.
Okay.
She'll have, try to take all of your comments and put them in, it starts at compensation.
Okay.
And I've been in touch with VLCT and the personnel, or the HR expert over there. The flex time off starts at letter C. She suggested calling it flex time because we are talking the difference between exempt and non-exempt employees. So that just changed that word.
So on the compensation part, it's just where you have the line through, that's the only change there?
From the old one, yes.
Okay. And then the flex time policy is, so we're changing A and C, if we accept it, correct, under compensation?
No, just under compensation, C, that's all we're doing.
Okay. I just saw the changes to A. And
Oh, there's changes through a lot of it that,
Okay.
because I
Gotcha,
started with the old one,
Yep.
but this is a whole new section. There's this, there
Yeah,
was
the-
no
we've
flex
never had
time,
a policy.
anything in the personnel policy, no. So based on the direction that you had given me, this is what I came up with.
Okay.
And before we approve this as a whole, I would suggest, saying, yes, this is what you agree with this, and then I'll send it out to make sure that it's legal.
Anybody have any questions on it?
No, it's fine with me.
Chris?
No, good.
So,
Now, I did have a question at the top. We do have an option of offering flex time to non-exempt employees, which is people who are not on salary. There's a whole definition for that, but hourly employees. So instead of paying time and a half, we could offer time and a half compensation time. That's what the compensation time is technically called. Some towns are doing that to control overtime costs. We don't have them except for highway. So, but I wanted to let you know that is an option that you have. I did not address that in here because it didn't sound like you were really concerned about going that direction.
so we want a consensus from the board that we're okay with this, and then we'll have it vetted through Larry, and then we'll have an official vote to change the policy at the next
Yes,
meeting.
and I'll send it up to the SVT, to the HR specialist up
So,
there.
is everybody happy with the way this reads?
Yeah, because the highway's under C, the highway's addressed.
Right, and they get overtime pay during the winter months, and that's a separate,
Okay.
a separate policy for for the snow plowing issues and all that. So, I don't know a scenario where they would get compensation time plus overtime. I haven't seen any of that, but just in case, I put that in there.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody's good with the policy as it's written? Okay, so let's get it vetted through Larry, and we'll put it on the next agenda to approve. Other budget updates, we added the rescue contract underneath that. Rescue is now asking us for 3 years instead of 1 year. A 1-year contract, excuse me. The expense for this year we have already. It's in our budget
Mhm.
for 1920. The only question that I have is if we enter into a 3-year contract, because I haven't read the 3 or 4 pages that contract is as of yet. I'm assuming they have the flexibility to change their rates and that kind of thing.
The rates will be based on population.
Yeah,
If the census data is not out by this time of the year, because that was my concern, that census takes a few years to come out.
Mhm.
It's coming out for 2020, but that may not even be out by the time this contract over. That this is changing by 1% a year over the contract period. So right now it's 85, was it? $23.54 a person, I'm assuming that is? for a total of 51,929. Next year's estimate is 52,458. And then the year after that is 52,988. So they are doing an increase of 1% per year for that 3-year period.
I move we sign the contract.
Second.
Moved and seconded to sign the rescue 3-year contract. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Who seconded? Sorry, I'm trying to do
Chris.
things at once.
Oh, Jean can come back, right?
Yeah, she was back in here.
No, she left for the flex time thing.
Oh, she did? Oh, okay. Sorry. Didn't even realize.
She's good.
Yeah.
The first year. I didn't realize
Take sock ones.
You're all warm and fuzzy.
I didn't.
Tell me now, I don't have to spend my nights here.
Yes, you do. And you left.
You did the rescue.
Yeah.
This gonna have to be voted on.
Ha, I remembered to write 19. That's amazing.
There's a pen right here.
Okay. Do we have any other budget stuff that we need to talk about under that line item of other budget updates?
There is, because I was hoping that I would get the information on the county tax, which, good news, looks like we have budgeted enough to cover what that's gonna be. They're expecting a 0.05% increase. So that didn't change. Cindy has updated the numbers by adding the communications line for the BCTV contract, which we do not have yet, but we're certainly expecting that after your last conversations. And what was the other thing that we did? The fire department changes and the siren changes are all updated in here for the 1602279 as our final. We had also talked about
Floors.
the floors. And we got an estimate this past year for the downstairs part of that floor at $4,500. So if you wanted to do half of those floors this year, we had talked about spreading that out over a number of years. Then I would suggest adding $2,250 to the building maintenance line item. And I think that was all. Yep, that's all of it.
Okay. Do we want to add that 2250 to do half the floors? I know when we talked about this, everybody seemed to be in agreement at the time that we needed to at least get half of them done this budget year. Does everybody still feel that same way?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so
You're adding 22?
2250 to the maintenance budget.
$2,250. So I have 1604529, is that right, Cindy?
1604. Yes,
Perfect.
that is correct.
So if that's the last piece of the budget, Cindy, unless you can have thought of anything else over the last, that's the last piece you're waiting for, so if you all wanna approve that, budget tonight you can, and I can get that in the morning.
Make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the budget as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so continuation of article discussions. Shall the voters of the town of Vernon authorize the legislative body to appoint the municipal clerk and the municipal treasurer, 2 separate articles? So we've had plenty of discussion and debate on this. We heard comments from both offices, and we are discussing bringing it to the voters to discuss. We are not discussing making it happen.
Mr. Chair, I move that we do not include these.
Second.
Okay. Do we want to vote on this? Don't really care. So moved and seconded to not include these articles. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay. They will not be included. That's unfortunate. All right, public participation on non-agenda items. Seeing none, correspondence and town admin report. Thanks, guys.
I just have one thing of importance on the town admin report. The town clerk's office has wanted to let you all know that they are likely to go $500 over budget on their voting line item due to the recalibration of the machines this past year. Tim has mentioned that he can rectify that by doing a hand vote for the last election. But then we're all gonna hear. So, okay, if you're all good with overspending, then you don't need to vote on that, it's, okay.
What's the Board of Adjustment meeting about?
Tim has more information on that, if you wanna ask him before he runs out the door. Tim, the BOA meeting, you wanna give him a heads up on?
The Board of Adjustment meeting?
Yes.
Tomorrow night, there is a request by the estates of Bruno Palmer to abate taxes on the property at, I believe it's 192 Scott Road.
So it's abatement, not adjustment?
It's abatement, not adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
As part of the Board of Civil Authority, I don't think anybody got that warning until right now.
I did send it out to all the JPs. I had thought that because it was included in your agenda packets, Mr. Chairman, that
Okay.
you would have gotten that. Thank you.
I'm just confused.
I don't know the difference.
You got anything else, Michelle?
I do not have anything else. That
Okay.
was the big thing.
Great. The next regular meeting will be January 15th at 6:30 PM. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're adjourned.